Sorry, big question.
Well, I mean, the article was incredible. It came to us from a couple of producers in New York, Alan Bain, Jesse Scalaro. It was just very dense, very rich. It was one of these traditional Vanity Fair, New Yorker sort of crime exposés. It was very well researched, and there were just so many characters in it. As soon as you read it, you realized, yeah, there was definitely a story there. The biggest issue was making the choice as to what story we wanted to tell from that article. So, yeah, it just took a little bit of time, and there was a lot of back and forth and development, and about 2.5 years later, we had a script that we could start showing around.
And the next question is for Director Andrew Lau. How many of you grew up watching Guatai? So, in terms of directing Hong Kong gangster films versus something in New York, what do you see as the biggest difference in approach for the craft in directing?
The same. We change the location, the peoples, and
Language.
what?
Language.
Same. Yeah, we in the set we talk Cantonese. No, I mean, of course, the locations change. Now in New York, not in Hong Kong. So so that's why I choose Lou. Lou is from here. It's ABC, okay.
Okay, how many bananas are out in the audience?
There's so many. Hands up. Oh, okay. So that is the civilization is different. I mean, it's lucky that we shoot about the Chinese invasions story, but it's not far from me. I mean, it's difficult, but so that's why I try. So I take this. So I try to shoot in New York. So. We know this is like a very low budget movie. And we insist that shoot in New York. You know, some movies here, okay, you can shoot the city in Toronto in some way, but we insist that we have shoot in New York. So that is the difficult. Yeah, I mean, the locations, the crew, and not the people. The people is good. I mean, and the different system from Hong Kong, you know, Hong Kong system is very, very different. Yeah, here we have the union, that every department have union, you know.
But in fairness, so management has a union as well.
Yes, yeah, every time we call the actors food or managers, I don't know why. We just direct call in Hong Kong, so no matter Andy Lau who just call, it's okay. Yeah, this is different. I mean, it's hard for me. I mean, the freedom. I mean, for the one of the actor from Hong Kong is, I feel not that freedom. Yeah, everything I have to have a meeting with every department. The department have meeting with the union. The union have something say, and some union come in and said and look after me. I don't know why. So that is the difference. So when you adapt that system, it's okay. Whatever they come, whatever they say, I just to make my movies good.
So piggybacking off your locations, there are some that was shot in actual locations in Flushing, Elmhurst, Queens, and I know some were shot in studios. So can you guys talk about a little how you found your setting in these local locations and how it gave flavor to the film?
Let me talk a little bit first. I remember that 2 years ago, yeah, like November. Is it November? Alan Bay, is it? Yeah. Well, I don't know where I come from. And we go to the location scale in somewhere. Queens?
Flushing.
Flushing, the Chinatown.
Well, what's confusing for someone who doesn't live in New York is there's 3 or 4 Chinatowns.
Yeah.
Right? And so the story itself actually took place in the 80s and 90s in Flushing. But I think what Andrew's going to say is when we visited Flushing for the first time, you know, Flushing today doesn't look like Flushing from then.
Yeah, it's not. So we go to look around New York. And then, how many times we're looking at go? Between 2 years, 4 times? Maybe. How many times? Maybe. How many? Yeah, 6. I mean, on and off, 2 years. 4 times? Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
A lot. I mean, there was a process. I mean, obviously, our location manager, Meredith, who's here, and was very instrumental in making this happen. Also, Wing Lee, our production designer, he's one of these kids who was born in Manhattan, Chinatown, grew up there.
He showed me a lot of that moment's pictures.
All the research.
Yeah, the Haze, the stick-hat mama, and the gangster from Chinatown. Yeah, very detailed showing for me. Yes, it's long part.
And I know the film is a bit violent, so how did the young actors react, and was there a lot of takes?
Is it? He's going up, yeah, come on, stand up. He's tortures him, sorry.
Alex, stand up. Michael, stand up. You guys are great.
Now they become a young man. Yeah, before he's just like a... Yes. I still remember, you haven't seen that. He's crying. Oh, sorry about that, okay. It's Lou's idea, not my idea, I guess. Lou's idea, okay.
So it's really all about context, right? So to your question, there was a scene where young Michael was on this block of ice, right? And he was by these chains, and he was getting beaten by the Green Dragon. So obviously, it was all choreographed over the course of a couple of hours with the stunt guys and the actors, and so they knew how to throw a punch, and Mike learned how to sell the punch. And so we got to the point where we started shooting, and of course, it always happens where somebody gets a little overzealous, and in the emotion of the moment, somebody actually landed a punch into Michael's ribs, and that shot's actually in there.
Remember, Harry said, whoa, the young boy acting so good.
He's actually crying. How does he do that?
And one more thing is that before the pop master say, okay, we have the fake ice. And finally, that ice is real, okay?